with your kit you'll get some of this long white wool fibre. It's very soft and it's got a nice long fibre to it. But the easiest way to use it is not in the full chunk of the wool as it comes, but just to peel off a section of it so that you can thin it out and use it in thinner layers so that you don't end up with a really chunky dog. And also you will probably run out of the fibre if you were to use it too thick. So the trick for this is to get your fibres and pull them open so that you've got a really nice sort of like flat and evenly spaced mix of your fibres there. Then what I'm going to be doing is just using some of those. So using scissors, probably the best bet, is just to sort of lay over this top layer. All the instructions for the lower layers are all photographed and really easy to follow in the instructions. I'll be able to show you some of that on the back of the head shortly. So we're going to be needing a layer that's about that long, so sort of like roughly judging. We can trim it again later. And then just snip that off there. And then because this is going to be our top layer, I'm just going to sort of judge where the middle is, about here. Pop that into the centre of the back where we've got the empty space. Onto there like that, lay it down nice and flat. But because we're going to be adding some of these colours as well, I'm going to add some streaks of our caramel colour here, and again just opening out those fibres and then laying those down onto the top of the white there. And we're going to give this lovely little dog a central parting along his back shortly, making it look a lot more realistic. You could add in some streaks of the grey there if you wanted to. I'm just going to keep it simple with some of this caramel and leave it at that for now. Then down the centre we're going to be attaching this top layer. So using your felting needle, I've got a handle on mine which are easily found to buy online. It's not something that I can actually supply myself, but I do find that because I do such a lot of needle felting, it's a useful tool. But you can use the needle felting needle without a handle just as well. So we've got that attached now in the middle. So we've got one side and then the other. And then just smooth down your fibres with the point of your needle. And then what you'll be able to do, so this is far too long for my design at the moment. If you wanted a really long haired Shih Tzu, then you could leave these layers really long. You know, like the show dogs that have got really long fur. If you wanted it to look like that, then why not? This one has got shorter layers, as though it's just been for a groom. Then using some nice sharp small scissors, I'm just going to sort of judge where I want this layer to stop. So looking at the layer underneath, I'm going to trim it a bit like a hairdresser, just along this edge here. Now it's going to look very blunt at first, don't worry about that. Okay, and then as we lay it down here, what you can then do is if you just snip up into the fibres like this, then you will get a more natural edge to it when you then go back with your needle and just pull those fibres through. Any excess will then come away and you'll be able to just pull those out of the way. And it's as simple as that, adding long fur with needle felting. Really, really simple. So doing the face here now, we've got the nose in the middle here. I'm going to deal with the nose part last, and I'm going to go back to my white wool for the centre. So I've got some smaller pieces. If you haven't got any small offcuts that you want to start off with, then just use some more of your white fibre. So the easiest way to do it is just to pull a length off so that you've got a nice sort of floaty piece of fibre rather than a chunky block. And just like before, we're going to use thin layers of this so that it doesn't get too bulky and unable to work with it. So I'm going to start with the centre of the face, and just to help me to prop it up, I've just got a sock here that I use for needle felting that's got rice in it, and just to sort of try and angle him so that you can see him. like that. And then I've got my white fibre, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch it together in the middle, just give it a half twist. Okay, so I'll just do that again. So it's just like a twist from back to front in the centre of that fibre, and then we can fold that so that I've got my anchor point here of where I want to begin to attach it. Don't worry if it's a bit messy, it doesn't really matter. It's just so that you've got a clue, and it will also bring the fibres in a little bit neater and narrower at the front. So right on the top of his nose here, I'm just going to hold that in place and then just needle into that area, and your aim is that you want to get that really well attached. Now we've got obviously the eyes to put in, so it's quite good on this first part here to needle felt this so that it will go absolutely flat. All the way around there. So it's worth taking your time to make sure that that is attached. So we've got him attached there. We've got his hair here. So if you had like a Shih Tzu that had like the show hair, you could keep that long and put a little bow in it, because that's what they do, isn't it? Be cute. I'm going to trim this one, but not yet. So just lay that down flat. And then on either side of the face, the characteristic look is that they'll have sort of like two patches of brown here, and then it'll go back onto white around the nose. So with the brown, what we need is here, so it probably looks quite black on the video, but it is dark brown, just a small piece. And then what we need to do is we need to roll this into a small pea shape. So I'm just going to roll that around in my fingers, and it's going to be, yeah, about the size of a small pea. And then I'm going to place that above the nose here, and then this brown part needs to be pretty flat, trying to keep it circular. So if you concentrate on the edges to get your shape, I'm pretty happy with that, and then secure it nicely like so. And if you've got any sort of like edges that you want to pull in, you can just gently do that by easing it in with the tip of your needle and then pressing down. Then we've got the eye starting to form there. Then we want some black, so you want a smaller, exactly the same technique, smaller circle of black, and pop that into the centre. A little bit big. So don't be afraid of making it smaller if you made it too big. Pop that into the centre. And then the final thing to bring our eye to life is our little tiny white shine. So I've just got some, you can barely see them, just a little tiny, from the offcuts of the white fibre, just a tiny little bit. And you need to roll this up so it's just a really, really small sphere. And what this does is it really does bring your animal to life. So you just need to pop it up on the end of your needle. And then inside the the black pupil part of the eye, you just need to gently position that in. Now when we've got all of our fibres going around in the right direction and it's all finished off, that eye is going to show through any eyebrows that we've got, and it's going to look really cute. It's because when we trim, we can trim these down so it's starting to look a little bit more realistic.